Let's welcome the sisters Davenport, Danielle and Gabrielle, the co-founders of Bem Books and More. Bem Books and More is a literary destination at the intersection of food and Blackness. This 2021 establishment, developed by these sisters as an online bookstore and soon to be new Brooklyn home for all readers, writers, cooks, eaters that are passionate about Black culture in all its diversity. Taking an expansive approach through the nexus of food, literature, and culture, Bem celebrates Black food by bringing works of fiction, nonfiction, poetry for readers of all ages into the conversation with cookbooks, culinary studies, to explore how what feeds us defines us. You should check them out online at https://bembrooklyn.com or on Instagram, bembrooklyn. Welcome the sisters Davenport, Danielle and Gabrielle, the co-founders of Bem Books and More. So ladies, welcome. I am Jerome with BFAM Cooking, and I really would like to thank you for, one, tolerating all of my little bugs, and two, taking the time out from your very, very busy schedule to talk with me about your bookstore. Now, I know that you have a lot to say about Black culture, food, and where do we start? Ladies?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us and for that wonderful introduction. I think we can start by maybe just sort of describing, as you did, that we exist at the intersection of all things Black and literary and culinary, and have just had an amazing time building relationships in the world of Black food over these 3 years that we've been in business, and bringing folks not only all the amazing cookbooks, which we always get so excited to talk about and dig into, but also fiction, nonfiction, poetry, kids books, everything that is Black authored and deals with food in some way, and to think about how we can sort of broaden the cultural conversation we can have when the most important lens is food.
Wow. So you're only listing one of your names, but let's confirm who we're looking at. On my right happens to be Danielle. Is that correct?
Danielle, yes. I don't know what the mirroring.
Yes.
Where is me?
That would be correct.
Gabrielle.
And Gabrielle, you're only listing Gabrielle on the screen, so I just want to make sure I landed that right off the bat. Now, Danielle is the actress also? Is that correct?
Yes.
Right, and Gabrielle is you're a producer, but I'm to understand that you do programming also. Is that right?
Programming, like music programming. So I used to work in
music programming.
Yeah,
okay. I was like, I need to narrow that down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking.
So you're both your sisters, obviously. Say again. I'm sorry.
I was just saying now Bem is my whole job. But yes, previously I was working in the arts.
Okay, well, definitely not a whole job. It's your career and your passion. Yes, it's like you ladies are leveling it up. I mean, you're deciding to doing pop-ups. You're now you're going the long haul. Is that what we're calling it? Is it we're spanning out into
we're
a
looking
brick
for
and
a
mortar?
permanent physical home is what we keep saying.
Yes.
It's been really wonderful to have these long-term pop-ups. You know, there are places we've been for 6 months, like with the Museum of Food and Drink, with their African American exhibition in 2022, and with Brick in downtown Brooklyn, able to partner over the course of the better part of a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had wonderful chances to kind of be with folks in person, but it's always time limited. So we're really excited to open our doors and to have a place where we can welcome you all, whether you live around the corner on the other side of the world and happen to be in town, to have folks gather around Black food and Black books.
Well, all I can say is that I've interviewed a couple of people who are a good fit for you. I mean, I've interviewed JJ, Chef JJ.
So great.
Right, JJ Johnson.
We worked together in a restaurant like a million years ago. So reconnecting at this stage in our careers and lives, it's been really amazing. We were so excited to work together around The Simple Art of Rice when that came out last year.
Oh yeah, and I actually ordered that from you, and I gave it away in a giveaway. So,
Well, thank you for the support.
Definitely.
oh please, please. That's one of the main. Supporting people who are in my 3VIN circles, which is military, culinary, and people of color, right? Is difficult for me to find, but when I find them, I latch on and hold like death grip sort of hold. So. I spoke with JD a long time ago, and it took about a year or so to get together to be on to talk about something, which is he didn't tell me then. That's why he was waiting was to get the book out. I'm like, okay. But I happened to run into him when I was returning to NBC to talk to a couple of friends that we were hanging out. We used to work there. Amazing. So I was like, hey, why don't I just happen to walk by his restaurant, of which I hadn't seen because when I was actually at NBC, he wasn't there. So when they revamped, we did that thing. And then, of course, recently, you guys did a Kickstarter. And I'm a big microfunder. I supported Carla Hall when she was doing a chicken joint in Brooklyn. And, I'm really, really big in, again, death grip. I hold on to you guys. So this bookstore, focusing on people of color or the African diaspora, as you guys plainly say. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we are both lifelong readers and home cooks, and have always had obviously a vested interest, right, in Black cultures, aside from growing up with our family and our family's from the East Coast. I grew up on the West Coast. We've lived in, other places in the middle of the country. So we've had a lot of sort of experience with, I think, different food traditions, different sort of food cultures, and not just sort of what African Americans are doing in those various places, but the Black immigrant communities in all of these sort of different regions of the country. I feel like I've been introduced to so many customs and traditions and ways of eating from visiting and sort of traveling, even just in the U.S. And then in college, each of us studied different things, but we're still very much focused on the African diaspora through arts and letters and so forth. And so this felt like a really natural sort of outgrowth of what we were already talking about, just as sisters, and certainly what we're interested in professionally, intellectually, etc.
And there's something really beautiful for us too, to be in Brooklyn, which feels like one of the best places to be, to explore like the breadth of the Afro-Atlantic world. Like obviously you want to go to different places and meet people where there are, but here in this borough, there's just such a tremendous amount of Black diversity, which is something that we really lean into. Like how specific can we be about the nuances in all of our diverse Black cultures, as well as thinking about all of what connects us when we sort of, stand under the diaspora umbrella. So it's always fun for us to kind of think about it from both perspectives, all that connects and all that sort of distinguishes.
So the colleges you guys both attended would happen to be one of those big name schools. It was.
We're both alums of Barnard College.
There you go. I knew.
Yes. Some years apart that we attended, but both Barnard alums.
Can't be that many years apart, but you say some years like decades apart.
Not decades, but some years. We weren't there at the same time. At least we could say that.
Yeah. The biggest thing, I'm on my background on you guys. You had a lot of conversations in reference to the people who at the school and what they were doing at Barnard. But your family must be really creative because you have two sets of people who are produced from the same situation that do creative things. How did you swing from those creative things, acting and music production, into, let me just make some food over on this side of the building? How did that happen?
For us, I think it all feels very connected. Like we're both very excited by sort of Black cultural expression in all of its forms. And so the difference between, theater or art or literature or food, it's all expression of sort of cultural energy. And again, as people who deeply love food and deeply love books, it felt very natural as we were sort of thinking about like, oh, maybe we should start a business together. What would that look like? Immediately when the idea of, a Black food bookstore combining two of our biggest passions, it felt very natural.
And the focus on storytelling in both of those formats, there's just like endless good stuff to get into, right? Like we'll never run out of material to be exploring and talking to people about. There's always a new way to interpret a recipe. There's always a new story being written by, whether it's sort of bringing into conversation a classic text with something that someone, just released. Like there's just always stuff to get into, which is really exciting just as a project.
So one of my last major interviews, I interviewed Jamie Stone, aka the Wolf of Wine. Yeah. Right. And he's one of the other people that I really like, that I think is a great fit for you guys, right? Because of music and food, and in particular, his was it hip hop and wine? I think it is. That's what it's called. I'm just trying to remember. He's a perfect fit, and he's New Yorker, so that would be a solid.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, because he does a podcast also that where he brings in people and does like an event. He just did one in California, and I think prior to that it was in Philly. So it's sort of like rap and wine. It's like a different thing, but
sounds like my dream,
right?
Which I think is perfect. Which you guys are bringing it back, tying it to you. I'm to understand you're opening as part of the brick and mortar. The idea was to have a wine bar.
Absolutely. Yes, so in addition to our book and product retail, we will have a cafe and wine bar, a teaching kitchen, demo kitchen, and an archival reading room. So the idea, as Danielle was saying before, is that we can engage in the worlds of Black food and Black writing in as many ways as possible, and really sort of animate the books with actual culinary experiences as often as we can.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a spectacular place. Brooklyn's already a spectacular location, but just your opportunity to hone the edges of the diamond that you guys are creating is going to be. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Do you have a particular spot that you can announce today about where?
We can't announce it just yet. We're hoping to make a really big and exciting announcement very soon. We will let you know when we can do that. So yeah, we are working away and are going to have some good exciting news soon.
Well, look, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. I mean, I'm on Long Island, so to get to Brooklyn wouldn't be too crazy.
Yeah, you'll have to come through.
Cannot wait to welcome you.
Yeah, it'll be.
But I can't wait to come. That's why they make Uber, so I don't have to worry about driving in the city and parking. But so let me ask you some of these other questions. You were talking with Cherry Bomb about the future of food in 50. So what's the big plan in 5 years? Give me a 5-year outlook.
5 years, our brick and mortar will be open. We'll have been open. We'll be in a wonderful flow of all the incredible cooking classes and pop-ups and guest chefs and residencies and the edible garden outside and all sorts of amazing conversations. So deep in a flow of convening people around the world of food and books. And then one of the things that we're really excited about as well is just sort of seeing, it's been such a wonderful journey so far of having opportunities to present themselves in terms of, all that touches the world of Black food. So there's so many possibilities about areas in which we'll expand as well.
Kickstarter, your Kickstarter program got pulled in a good number, what I like to consider a good number, 75,000.
Yes, just over 75,000, which we also consider a great number. We were very excited to be able to make that happen on Kickstarter. We we sort of, I won't say we decided last minute, but there are other versions of Kickstarter campaigns that might have had more planning in advance. And we were very, I think, just humbled and grateful that 645 people, yourself included, thought that it was an exciting enough project to back it in that way. So we're still buoyed by that support. And there was so much love that came out of the Black food community to really rally behind us and make sure that we hit our goal. It would not have happened if not for that. So it was really an amazing.
Exceeded your goal. We
did exceed our goal. We absolutely did. We absolutely did.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Kickstarter was a great sort of moment for us.
Yeah, when you set a goal and meet it, that's okay. When you've exceeded it, it should hit the double underline. Yeah, we did that. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because you have so many, and it's so recent. That is surprising. People, so major outside of, not saying that you're not major, but other bookstores have come and they've decided to go. And reasons why I don't know. I know that me personally, I'm a big techie, hence the craziness with the electronics. But what happens is, even though I have an iPad and I have a Kindle and I have a thing, I still need to feel the book because I like the smell.
Yes, it's so important.
Exactly. We keep saying it's about having real people in a real place with real books. That's what we've been driving toward this whole time.
Yes.
Right. And the funny thing is, it's not even. I like the smell. So even with the other places that we used to go, we being my wife and I, we'd go there to get the experience of connecting with other people.
Exactly.
Sitting down, having that cup of coffee. Oh, did you see this other thing I saw over there in the corner that they have a display on? Yeah. That's what, building that little community is the big thing that. Hey, I was talking with Darren at the coffee shop, blah blah blah, and and he said, blah.
Right.
It's really, really important to help focus your team and your community around the resource.
Yep.
And you guys are developing one, which is really what made me want to support you, was that you, hey, let's just make a spot of which foodies could come and pass us some green things, and we will help them to have a spot. Yeah. And I don't mind being one of them. So that's I don't mind the online version of it either. Your website's pretty nice.
Thank you.
I like that. I know that you're making some major changes. I assume for all of the right reasons, because you need to be accessible and such. Yeah. Right. You can't not do that. And you should be ready for mobile ready and all that other good stuff. Yes. But Juneteenth is coming up. I know you have an event. How are you doing this? What is? Tell me more about the Juneteenth event.
Yes, we have two exciting events. With Juneteenth falling on a Wednesday, we're like, okay, great. This gives us 2 Saturdays. So up first is the Black-owned Brooklyn Juneteenth Food Festival at Weeksville. We participated last year, which was the first year, and it was such a wonderful time. So we are very excited to be back for a second year, and this time to be doing a kids cooking demo with the authors of the Juneteenth cookbook, Aliyah Agostini and Taffy Elrod. So we're going to do a demo of watermelon snow cones. We'll have a read aloud. We'll have a signing moment. So an awesome activation, and we'll also be selling throughout the day. So that's first up, and then I'll let Gabrielle describe the 22nd.
Yes, and then on Saturday, June 22nd, we will be at Aquaba Mansion in Bed-Stuy with Nicole A. Taylor, who's the author of Watermelon and Redbirds, which is the first ever cookbook really dedicated to Juneteenth. She's a fabulous food writer, recipe developer, and the way she frames the book is, yes, we want to know about the history of Juneteenth, about this holiday, how folks were celebrating it when it first sort of became a thing. But we also want to think about, like, how do we interpret this for the 21st century? What are we doing now to sustain ourselves and our communities? How do we want to be gathering? So we are hosting a celebration in that spirit. It'll be from 5 to 7. Again, Saturday, June 22nd. We're selling tickets to that one. The food will be delicious. There will be signature cocktails and beautiful music and just really a lovely time. So we're really excited to be able to do sort of the big family festival all day on the 15th, and then a sort of cocktail hour food hangout on the 22nd.
Outstanding. So those are great, and I can't wait to, I'm not so sure I'll make it this June, but I do have another idea for you in reference to next.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Harlem Hellfire in Harlem. Obviously, there's a VA. I'm ex-military.
Yeah.
You guys would guess because I already told you about that. But it's an excellent location. Maybe you can wrap something up with military food and African Americanism.
Yeah.
Right. That would be a great location for you. Besides, you're already brick and mortar by that time.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe you'll get because what is it going to be, Thursday next year? Is that what?
That's a good question.
Never even thought about
I don't know.
It's Wednesday today.
That tracks. That would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
It's going to be, yeah. So I assume that it'll be available. That means you still have 2 weekends. You still could play on it.
Right. Yeah.
But being a bookstore of color, you can play anytime you want around this day.
Awesome.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, pick all the days you want.
Absolutely.
That's all.
It's like the Black History Month as well. It's like we don't need a month for it. This is what we need.
Well, there is a Black Food Month.
Right.
There is a Black Food Month. I know. I used to run the veterans group for NBC, and we used to do Black Culinary Month, and we paired up with.
I feel like we should know about
I didn't
Black
even
Food
know
Month,
that there was
but
a Black.
Yeah. So we used to spin up a bunch of things. We had Carla Hall in our cafeteria during that time frame, and a few other individuals that used to come and cook. Obviously, we supported our TV shows that were running for Top Chef. That was on the channel. So they used to have a chef that would spur up and do a thing that we would all have, and they'd offer out culinary books of color during that time frame. Cool. Right, as a giveaway. It's one of the things that the Ben group and at work would do. So that's just an opportunity. There is a Black culinary, and similar to, there's also a Black Music Month.
Yes, which is in
soon.
I think it's also
June, now.
Is it? I think it's also June, actually.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
June.
So right now we've got Pride, we've got Caribbean heritage, we've got Black music, like all of the things.
Don't skip none.
Black people.
Hey, however you can tie in is how you tie in.
Yeah.
But look, I have a couple other questions, and I'm just got to get change some pages. So we're in Kickstarter. Did that pop-ups? Did that? I'm like trying to check them off, and already ran through them. And kids and food and how you this when I was a kid, we didn't, I was raised by my great aunt, and she just let us do our thing, go in the refrigerator, get something to eat. You need to learn how to do this. You're gonna be out there by yourself. You're now in control of this thing. You're actually promoting learning about food as a child. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's so exciting for us, like pulling together our children's book collection and middle grade and YA, the whole thing has been such a treat all along the journey. And speaking about the Juneteenth event, I think that this will be one of our first, we've done a couple of read alouds. We've had a couple of chances to really engage with the youngest members of our community, but it's something that we're so excited to do more and more of as we get our doors open and beyond. And it's just so wonderful. There's a book that we have Ada Twist, Scientist, and her baking files. I'm not getting the title of that exactly right. But again, as we talk about all of the things that food can do, and as adults, we're like, food is politics, food is sociology, food is climate, food is everything. But for our littlest ones, it's like food is science, food is basic math, food is deliciousness. It's just such a wonderful way into not even like explicit conversations, but just introducing kids to questions around health, to, aspects of math and science, to all sorts of wonderful things. And it's playful and it's fun and it's delicious. So it will always be really important to us to keep our kids' offerings vibrant.
And how are you finding the authors is what my question is for these particular these particular books? Or how does that work out for you? I know that we're already limiting by saying that we're just going with people of color. How do you find, I need a person of color who's into culinary, who's a child?
Well, it's all the books are authored by Black folks, so we start there, and we carry a couple of books by younger chefs, which we love whenever we can find one. The sourcing process, when we first started, we came up with a list of probably like 250 titles, just sort of off the top of our heads of books that that were Black food literature to us. So that was obviously lots of cookbooks, but it was also books like If I Can Cook, You Know God Can by Ntozake Shange. It was Beloved by Toni Morrison. There was a whole swath of nonfiction titles as well. Since that initial list, we've been building relationships with publishers, certainly building relationships with authors who are keeping us abreast of when their publications are coming out, and also, very importantly, when their friends' books are coming out, right? As we continue to build our community, get to know people, it's become a really organic and lovely process to just sort of be in conversation with our community about what's coming out, in addition to the searching process with the publishers and so forth. So it's coming from
Release Tuesdays, is that what I'm to understand?
Yes, Tuesdays.
Tuesdays
Tuesdays are a big day around here.
Every week there's more.
Yeah, okay. Well, before I let you guys go, because I know that you're short on time and I wanted to wrap this up on time for
Thank you.
Right? Can you give me any recommendations that I should be looking for in the future? I've already ordered. There's a young lady who's a pastry chef, and I know her book is coming out in October, and I think I pre-ordered from you guys.
So. Bodega Bakes?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, exactly. Right. She was on JJ show, and she's cute and funny and quirky. I like cute, funny, quirky. That always brings me home. My library is getting a little ridiculous. I'm gonna have to actually get bookshelves made because they don't fit into the space. And my wife
exactly.
It's kind of problem.
Our kind of problem.
Yeah, but whatever's gotta happen is gonna happen, because I need the books for reference, from my mind, because I like to entertain and have people over for this, that, and the other. So the only recommendation you guys have for me is, I didn't hear it.
Oh my God, there's so many.
I know, there really are. One book that I'm really excited about that's coming up soon, and I should look up so I can get the title right, but it's a nonfiction book about a family dairy farm in Louisiana. I want to pull it up, but it's so specific and so interesting, and I always, as we think about food, there are different parts of sort of the food world and food experiences that we have more experience with, namely cooking and eating, but some of the questions about sort of food systems and farming and all of that is a real area of sort of learning and growth for us. It's called Seasons at Lakeside Dairy, Family Stories from a Black-Owned Dairy, Louisiana to California and Beyond. And it actually comes out June 15th, so it's right around the corner, and that's one that we're excited about for sure.
Yeah.
So you're just now starting to dig into Black farming, is what I'm hearing, because that's another topic of which I'm really looking at myself.
Yeah, it's been on our radar from the beginning as we sort of built our mission statement and decided what we meant when we said Black food books. It was very clear to us from the beginning that was to take an expansive approach, to look across genres and to really think about all of the ways that food works in our world. So it's something that's been a part of the Bem mission from the beginning, but again, just sort of as individuals in our learning journey within this world, because there's something for us that is really, this is the spirit for us. Bem exists in sort of the spirit of learning together, as opposed to us being some sorts of, experts who are here to bestow the knowledge. It's really about having a conversation together and platforming the incredible authors who have really, dived deep into whatever their specific discipline is. So yes, farming is absolutely important to Bem and is something that we're sort of learning more and more about.
Yeah, the history of it all and the questions and problems around it, which has been, it's always a question and a problem for us in the past. I'm currently watching some documentary on untold stories for African Americans or people of color during World War II. There was something else that just came out on World War I issues, which is why I'm recommending the Harlem Hellfires to you, because they're World War I platoon that actually did really, really outstanding things and have not been noted.
Wow.
You know, so we're all learning new things every day. There's another documentary that just came out on the real red tails.
Oh, wow.
We all know there's
Okay.
what's the real ones? Was there fake
Right,
ones?
right.
Tuskegee Airmen.
It's always so interesting for us to think about, you know, sort of additional genres. Like, obviously, everything is Black, everything deals with food, but then there are books we have that also deal with music in a real way, or deal with, like, as we have this conversation, I'm thinking, what are the books in our collection that deal specifically with sort of the military or veterans issues?
Yeah.
And so it's always interesting for us to think about sort of what are the other ways in, sort of under this umbrella of all of what BEM does.
Well, the really funny thing I find for my community on top of it is that everything has something to do with food. No matter what we
Always.
do,
Exactly.
the music and food, it's similar to me being in my kitchen. I turn the music
Right.
on, then I can start cooking.
Exactly.
You
Go
know,
hand
so
in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
they go hand in hand. Growing up, part of my particular childhood was always the song of the time. You know, it was always there.
Yeah.
It's our heartbeat. It's how we walk. It's how we wake up. And of course, part of that is gathering together. So obviously, I'm African American. So therefore, you have a church element, a soulful element to it that causes you to have community. And when you put two Black people together, there's always food. So that's all you do. There was a young lady at NBC who ran the Ben group. She recently passed away, but she used to say there's two things that happened. If you didn't take pictures of it, it didn't happen. And you got to have food if there's an event. That's
Words to live by.
are the two words to live by. You can't. Yeah, it's not an event if you don't have any food and you didn't take any pictures of it. It's not a thing. So yeah. Again, ladies, Gabrielle and Daniela, it's spectacular that you took the time to come together with me. I really thank you very much for going out of your way and understanding my technical issues that I'm having with my new platform. Just thank you very much. I don't know what else.
Thank you. This has really been a pleasure.
It has been. We'll have to do a part 2 so we can finish it at some point. Maybe after we open or something like that. We could.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk with Chef Rowe in
nice.
Connecticut. Yes. She's also a New Yorker. Well, come into New York every so often. She's got a restaurant in Connecticut, and she's also this major phenom at CIA.
Yeah.
So I hope that we can, make the rounds and stop by and say hello to some people.
That would be great.
Some people being
Yes.
you, or that
Yes.
we won't be specific.
That would be great. Thank you again, Jerome.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.